Hello and welcome to the United Stand. Out of ideas, out of excuses, and should be out of a job. That's one of the headlines I read today about Jose Mourinho. I've had my say. I've got Rance, I've got Sophie with me. They're going to have their say. Lots to talk about. Is now the time to be bringing a Zidane in, or are there other people involved? Are we now beyond Mourinho and we're in the hands of an incompetent board because they're the people who should be taking action at this point with Manchester United? I'm going to go to... we'll go to you first, Rance. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, needs to go in it. I think everyone knows where I sit on this. But yeah, man, he just needs to bounce. I think we're all fed up now. We're all done. He's had long enough. I think going into the third season, he doesn't know what his strongest team is. All the players he's brought in, he's one by one destroyed their confidence. I think Lukaku is like the only player that he's brought in that I can probably say doesn't. Actually, no, Lukaku looks crap as well, but I mean, he's still pretty confident because he's a 1 in 5 striker anyway. It seems like his confidence can't be dented. He'll keep missing, and then that's just what he does, isn't it? But all the players he's brought in, they all seem a shadow of themselves, man, to be honest. Like, Eric Bailly doesn't know whether he's coming or going. Paul Pogba's got no confidence. He bought Fred. Fred's not really playing. Mkhitaryan's gone. Zlatan's gone. Like, his signings have just been poor. Matic, for me, I don't like him anyway. I think he's overrated. I think he's very basic, innit? He's just like McTominay with chocolate sprinkles on top, innit? Like, he's not great, man. He don't really do anything. Like,
can I just jump in there and ask you, because you were at the game yesterday, and I've not had anybody at the game ask this question, and you do see things at games, as Sophie was saying last week when she was at the Wolves game, because you can't follow, you can move away from the ball. Scott McTominay, as far as many were concerned last night, was terrible. Mourinho said he was brilliant. Now, you were at the match. Tell us honestly, McTominay yesterday, I thought he was at fault for 2 goals and was awful, but apparently he was brilliant.
Jose is boiling piss, innit? That's what he does. He always does that. It's just like when I remember last season, I think Lukaku went like 9 or 10 games without scoring, and Jose was like, "Oh yeah, he was the best player on the pitch. Like, he's doing exactly what I told him to do, even though he's having stinkers." Jose does that. Do you know what I mean? Like, he boils piss all the time. McTominay was awful. Do you know what I mean? He was awful. Even taking Lindelof off and putting on and leaving McTominay at centre back. We've got Eric Bailly on the bench. We have a centre half on the bench. You either leave on your centre-back or you could put on another centre-back. Why would you leave McTominay at centre-half? Like, he done it on purpose. Like, what, do you thought that McTominay is going to be able to deal with Arnautovic? Like, that's unbelievable. Like, Jose's done that on purpose, isn't it?
Yeah, Banana Man says you're splitting the fans. Pathetic. Mate, look, I ain't going to come on, start a show and go, yeah, let's stick with Mourinho. I've done my video this morning. Got 2 guests on tonight. You've got a Skype show tomorrow night. If you can come on and tell us why Jose Mourinho should be staying at our club, I'll listen. We'll listen. This is the channel for it. But I tell you what, this is not splitting the fans. You need to open your ears and look out there. I haven't seen anybody today saying, Sophie, that Mourinho should stay. Apart from you. No, I'm not. I know you're only joking. But realistically, how are you feeling? And is it now or never with Mourinho? Because there is something I want to discuss. But first of all, where are you at with this now? And what do you think needs to happen?
You know what? I think there's only one guy who's splitting the fans, and that is Mourinho himself. And like you've just said, that most fans now are saying it's time up for Jose. You know, I've been optimistic for a while and saying I'll give Jose the time. But even my patience is wearing thin now, Mark, to be honest, because I can't see a silver lining. It's like we're going backwards. And I've got to be completely honest there and say I've given him time. I've tried to be patient. I thought, you know what, it's not just this year. There's been many seasons since Fergie's gone where the players haven't performed, so maybe the players should be put into question as well. But the style of football just isn't improving. The way he deals with the press isn't improving. And I just think, you know what, I don't know if I can watch much more of this. Yesterday I couldn't even finish watching the game yesterday. That's how poor it was. I actually could not finish watching the game. And I can't remember the last time that's happened. I don't think that's ever happened. I've always watched the United game, but yesterday was painful.
It was. I mean, in relation to yesterday, I think that obviously losing to Derby and then we moved away with the Pogba Mourinho agenda. I think that was deliberate. We spoke about that. Rants and Flex did on Thursday. I think that was deliberate to shift us away from the performances of Derby and Wolves. You were at the Wolves game, as I said. But yesterday, I mean, I've seen Rants' fan cam. I've had my say. The fans have had their say. Is there anything defence is the obvious. Is there any defence for Mourinho? Yeah, the back five and the three central defensive midfielders he picked. But yesterday, what were your thoughts when you saw in that first 5 minutes how he'd set us up against West Ham? Was that the point where you were like, this is it?
Yeah, to be honest, I tweeted out, I was like, oh, maybe Pogba's going to be given more of a free role and try to be optimistic, but that was never going to happen, was it? Let's be honest. Rance is laughing, but, you know, I just thought, surely not. Surely he's not parking the bus at West Ham. After the week that we've had, we need to bounce back, and that's the kind of mindset that we're going in with. I was literally speechless at what I saw, and for me, that was it, yeah.
I just want to say as well, we've got the BetBull link in the video description. I've just got to say that the winner of the Manchester United shirt is Grosser1. You've won it. I'll be talking more about it at the end of the show because we've got another shirt to give away because of the Champions League. We've got a watch along on Tuesday, so keep your eye out for that. But Grosser1, you've won it. And if you want to go in the next draw, I'll tell you how, but the link's in the video description. It wasn't on my agenda, Rance, but I just wanted to ask you about this. Pogba yesterday, Flex was saying how away fans were giving him a lot of stick when he was taken off yesterday. What were your thoughts about those fans doing that?
There's a few of them sitting in front of me, and I was thinking, you lot are absolute idiots. Do you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, isn't it? It's the usual, man. Them guys come all the way down from Manchester, like they off their nut drunk. Do you know what I mean? And just throwing like fingers
Mourinho
up and
backers,
that.
Aren't they?
Yeah, of course, but I don't care about them, innit? Like they're a very small percentage of the fans at the club. Like so, like in all honesty, you know how many away tickets you get. You don't get very many. Do you know what I mean? So. Like, they're a very small percentage of the fan base. I wouldn't even pay them any mind. Like, them geezers weren't even watching the game for most part. So, they're just there singing. It's a day out for them, innit? Like, and they spend more time looking at each other and singing songs and making noise and actually watching the game. So, I don't really care about that, man. Like, Pogba was actually trying to do things and then there was nothing happening. There were times where he had the ball at his feet and he's throwing his hands up in the air because he was like, nobody's moving. Like, who wants the ball? No one wants it. Cool. All right, then I'm just going to try something. And that's literally been the story of like most of his Manchester United career. And it's not his fault. It's not his fault, to be honest. The coaching's so poor. The attacking players are so static off the ball. Martial's the only attacking player that moves and wants to come short, get the ball, run at people, and do all of them things. And Jose took him off too. Like, he's clueless, mate. He's clueless.
It's stupid, really, because actually, I don't know who was man of the match yesterday because it was so bad. But actually, in a terrible performance, I probably would have gave it Pogba because he was trying to do stuff. You know, it didn't come off, but there you go. Matthew McFadden says McTominay could burn Jose's hotel room down and he thanks Scott for heating it up. Look, I want to get back on track. Now or never is basically what I want to talk about before we talk about maybe Zidane. I spoke about this morning and said, look, the board have got to make a decision. The worst thing they can do is just let it continue. You either kick all the players out that Mourinho doesn't want and back Mourinho, or you kick Mourinho out and we start again. What worries me, Soph, is that they're going to just stick with it because I bet we'll beat Valencia on Tuesday. We've then got a winnable game against Newcastle, and then we have an international break. He's here for another 3 weeks. We come back after the international break. We lose more games, and we're back where we are tonight. Is it now or never? Do you think the board have got it in them to do what needs to be done in the next few days, or do you think we are going to be stuck in this rut for a number of weeks more?
I think, to be honest, you say now or never, and if Jose goes, it's not going to be an instant fix, is it? Because there's obviously a lot of problems running much deeper than Jose Mourinho, and the board are a massive part of that. Have they got it in them? Probably not, to be honest. If you look at the way things have gone of late, they haven't really backed him, but at the same time, have they got the balls really to turn around and sack Jose Mourinho this early on into his third year? Probably not. But if the fans, look, we've just said, the majority of fans now are saying Jose Mourinho out. Maybe that might be swaying their opinion a little bit because it's always been half and half. There's still been a vast majority backing Mourinho, which I think is now swinging in the opposite direction. So I don't know. At the moment, I still don't think they're going to change anything. But like I say, the problem, yes, Jose is a massive problem. I'm not saying he's not because of the style of football. But the problems run a lot deeper. It's not going to be an instant fix no matter who we get in this place.
Yeah, same question to you, Rance. Do you think they'll do anything this week, or do you think it's just going to continue as it is?
International break, he needs to get sacked. I reckon we've got 2 more games. We've got Valencia, then we've got the Newcastle game. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't win that Valencia game, to be completely honest. I'm not saying we'll lose it, but I'm not saying we're going to win that game, bro, because Valencia are no pushovers, and we're not playing well. And yeah, it's at home, but what does that even matter? Do you know what I mean? Right now, we're just not playing well anyway. So Like, we could well not get a favourable result against Valencia. I believe international break, you sack him, mate. Like, I'd sack him now, to be honest. Even if we have Carrick in charge for 2 games until the international break, and then you bring in another manager, then you do that. But for me, he's got to go now, because I think just the lift that the players would get, just him not being there, it's clear that these guys are not playing for him. It's very obvious. Like, players were walking around yesterday. They were walking around on the pitch. Nobody wanted to be out there. Nobody wanted to be out there at all. And the worst thing about the situation was what he said after the game, trying to throw Martial under the bus, and was like, yeah, you guys were saying Alexis wasn't playing well, so I bring Martial in, and then look what's happened, basically. When Martial ran his socks off for the whole game, was coming short, trying to beat players, done a few good things. Lukaku done nothing for the whole game, and he singled out Martial of all players. Like,
to be honest, that was the thing that I just can't listen to him anymore. I thought it was disgusting to do that. It was absolutely childish petulance to single out a player who had nothing to do with his losing.
That's personal with Jose, and that's what he does. He makes things personal. He done the same thing with Eden Hazard. I tweeted it today. He made similar comments about Eden Hazard before he was sacked at Chelsea, saying how he's dropped Hazard because Chelsea are leaking goals and Hazard doesn't want to defend. Yeah, then he said the same thing to Martial doesn't like his defensive duties. Yeah, because he's a striker. And you had 7 defenders behind him anyway, so what the hell does he need to be defending for? We started with 3 DMs. 3 DMs at West Ham. Taking the mick, mate. 3 DMs in front of a back 5, yeah? That's unbelievable. We had 7 defenders on the pitch. Paul Pogba, Martial and Lukaku. And we were 2-0 down at half-time. With Fellaini, Matic and Tomine. How are you 2-0 down at half-time with 3 defensive midfielders on the pitch?
Because you play McTominay at centre-back. Murder Havid says, I'm a Liverpool fan. United have lost the fear factor. We know that. We've lost it a long time ago. And the special one says, what do you think United would be like under Zidane in terms of his philosophy and being vulnerable from the counter-attack, and our defence is crap? I mean, yeah, that's a good point. So if I'll ask you that, you sack Mourinho tomorrow. We all get what we think and know needs to happen, let's be honest. What would Zidane's free? Is that what United should be doing? Is that the man you would go for?
I would love Zidane at United. He would be the first name on my list, I think, yeah. But like I just said, it wouldn't be an instant fix. The board have got to back him as well, and they've got to do what Zidane wants to do at the end of the day. And at the minute, no matter who comes in, if we're going to stick with the same... People are saying the club is rotten to the core. I don't think it's quite that bad, but it's not being run correctly, and I think something needs to improve, definitely. But for me, Zidane would be up there. Also, I mentioned earlier Nuno Santo from Wolves, that kind of manager, an attacking manager, where players are playing for him. The club love Nuno. The fans are behind him. The players are literally running through brick walls for him, and they're playing great football. They played us off the park at Old Trafford, and they've just got promoted. I'm not saying Nuno is the man for the job, but I think somebody with that kind of mindset, somebody who's positive and willing to take risks, because our players look terrified at the moment.
He probably wouldn't do it because he's a disciple of Mourinho, isn't he? But I mean, look, I said at lunchtime rants that, to be honest, I'd take Zidane over Mourinho. I'd be patient because we ain't getting top 4 as we are, so we may as well give somebody else that patience and start the clock again, which annoys me. I got a lot of stick, but I said, look, the club will never do it because I'm pretty sure there's bad relationships between class of 92, Roy Keane and United, but I just think we need to get our identity back, and I would sacrifice 2 years to get Giggs and Keane in as a pair, or somebody who knows what the club's about, because I think we've just lost our identity, and I think Zidane could do well, but what is he to do with United? And what if he gets it wrong like Mourinho did?
I don't know. I'm completely against that class of 92 idea for the simple fact that I feel like we need to move on. We need to move on from this Ferguson crap, man. Like, a lot of people are still living in the past, innit? Like, it's just like Liverpool. Like, Liverpool are not living in the 80s anymore and in the early 90s. Like, they're playing a different kind of football and they've moved on from that. Do you know what I mean? The whole Kenny Dalglish thing, yeah, it was great, but it didn't help. Do you know what I'm saying?
Actually, the boot room and all that, isn't it?
Yeah, I just feel like you just got to get rid of all that crap. There's no sentiment. You get the best man for the job, like, and take emotion out of it, because all this Giggs talk is emotional. All this Keane talk is emotional. Roy Keane has not proven himself in management. He hasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, what has he won? If you're going to bring in Roy Keane, then what? Do you know what I mean? And people are saying, oh, Poch hasn't won anything, but you want to bring in Roy fucking Keane. Like, what difference is it? Do you know what I mean?
You know what it is, though? I think it's because that, well, in my mind, it's because we're so far away from what we are, United. And you know what? If Zidane comes in and plays attacking football, that is the identity. So you're probably right. But I think what it is, we're so removed. There's no leadership. There's no passion. No one's kicking the players up the arse. No one's playing for the shirt. So I think it's natural that you look back and go, we need somebody who knows what this club's all about. But you're right. The Liverpool example is brilliant. What was Klopp to Liverpool? And he's got that club back where it was in the 80s.
Well, there you go. So at the end of the day, Zidane's the man, innit? Three Champions Leagues back to back with the same squad that Rafa Benitez struggled with. People are like, oh yeah, he had a great squad. So what? So did the Galacticos. And what did they win? Nothing really for the players that they had. Like, just having good players doesn't win you stuff. Zidane's man management's good. He's got the respect of every football fan and every player on this planet because he's one of the greatest footballers to walk this earth. His profile fits the club. He will command respect in the dressing room and all over the globe. Like, literally, these guys like money, our owners. Zidane's a much bigger profile than Jose, way more attractive than Jose Mourinho. You bring in Zidane, everyone's listening. The guy is a pragmatist as well. He does change his shape and we'll do well in Europe with him because he can adapt tactically. But the guy likes to attack. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's the perfect manager. And I tell you what, he'll get Martial and Pogba playing. That's for sure.
And Bale.
So I think...
And Pereira.
And Bale. Exactly. All of these guys, you'll get these guys playing, man. Like, what did he do at Real Madrid? He came in. Yeah, they spent, 90 million on Gareth Bale? And he said, sit down, I'm playing Isco. I'm playing Asensio. You'll play young players. It's all about balance with him. You know what I mean? So, like, the young players will develop a lot under Zidane. Like, he's shown that he will play young players ahead of big money signings if it fits the team, man. I think he's just the perfect man to bring in. And it will give the players such a boost to have him in the dressing room. Absolutely. Instead of Mourinho's miserable face. I think everyone's tired of it now.
I'll tell you what, I'm sold. Where do we sign up? Because the thing is, this is what the club needs. And I do feel sad that we're talking like this. And I always said I'll never do a show while the manager's in place about the next manager. But I feel that, there's a great comment here from Francisco Galindo saying, I've backed Mourinho, but it's time he moves on. I've been wanting to plan a trip to see them, but results like this make me question if I want to see them lose. The results are on Mourinho. And I think that's it. I don't think any United fan, Sophie, wants to be saying, get Mourinho out, get Zidane in. But I think what the fans are doing, and it is the majority now, and I don't understand fans who still are backing Mourinho unless it's this win, lose or draw, back the manager, but the reality is most of the fans now know he's got to go because I can't think of a manager in history who turns it round when it's gone so bad. So we want him to go, but we're in this period now where we all know that the board, as brilliant they are as businessmen, they're not football people. And I think Chelsea, Man City, even Liverpool in this situation, Mourinho would be gone tomorrow morning, but I think we all know Mourinho is going to continue on. As he continues on, this was the question I wanted to ask you, Soph. If he continues on till Christmas, is there any way he turns this round? As a footballer, you're playing it yourself at the moment. Do you agree with Rance there that the players are gone? And how does he turn this around? If I'm saying to you, Mourinho's here till April, what has he got to do to try and get us top four? He's not going to be sacked. How does he do it? What can he do it?
Honestly, no, because look at the players yesterday strolling around the pitch. They're not playing for. It's obvious they're not playing for Jose now, and these little rows on the training ground and stuff like that. These antics, you might say it's a cover up, but at the same time, it's not good for anybody in that squad being in that kind of hostile environment. People are scared of the manager. They're scared to express themselves. Scared to take risks in the football. So we're not going to improve at all. So for me, I don't think he can win this round. And I'm the prime example of that. I was always Jose in until the last minute, really, because I wanted to believe that he could turn it round. And I wanted to show faith in the manager and be optimistic about it. But I just can't see that silver lining. Once you've lost the players, that's it for me. There's no turning back from that.
And just on that players thing there, because I've seen a few people today saying, look, you can't all pin it on Mourinho, it's on the players. And I do agree with that. I think the players are clearly, like you say, not doing their thing. And this might be controversial, what I'm going to say here, but I think, well, you play football yourself. Is it on you no matter what the situation is? You're wearing a Manchester United shirt and it doesn't matter what the tactics are or anything like that. You should be busting a gut and doing absolutely everything. Or is that a fairy tale? Because actually, if you're being treated badly, you're playing in a system you don't want to play and, you're demotivated. How are you're a human being. How are you going to do that?
I think it's a bit of both, really. I think as a fan, obviously, you want to see players busting their gut. But there's at times yesterday where players have lost the ball and they're literally strolling, and that's for me where you can see they're not bothered. Like they want Jose to be out more than us fans do at the minute, and that's the massive thing, really. I mean, what can you say as a player? You should be given 100% no matter what. It's your job at the end of the day. If I'm not happy with my manager at work, I've still got to perform no matter what because I want to get my wages. And it's exactly the same for footballers. Like they've got to perform. However, are you going to perform the job to the best of your ability, knowing that the person above you is treating you like rubbish, such as Martial at the moment? And no matter what he does, he seems to get slagged off after a match. And no matter how hard he tries, like what kind of mindset is that for Martial? Like Alexis Sanchez being signed and immediately replacing him when Martial was playing decent football. Like, there's only so much that you can take as a human being in order to give 100%. So I think it's a bit of both, really. But like I say, the players aren't playing for Jose Mourinho anymore. That's obvious to see. There's a few of them that are. Fellaini, for example, he's performing, but he's playing. That's why, and he's being given time.
Fellaini, Matic, Lukaku, all the crap players. Jose loves them, mate. I mean, he's there. He's been in, mate. Dead.
I'll tell you what, just on that Martial thing, Rance, I know people won't like this either, but after what Mourinho did yesterday, totally uncalled for. Obviously, the Martial haters loved it, and there are some. I'd be in his office tomorrow morning and I'd say, you know what, you either put an apology in or you can forget it. I ain't playing for you again, and I'll go public. Yeah, I would. I think it was, somebody said it yesterday, it's bordering on bullying because it wasn't justified.
I said it. It's bullying. It's bullying. I would literally come out and I'll tell him, listen, I want an apology or what? I'm going on strike. I'm not even coming to training on Monday. You're not seeing me. I don't care. Like that's what I would do personally because there's no need for it. Everyone wants to talk about, oh yeah, Pogba shouldn't come out and say, oh, we should be attacking. What Jose did was bullying. Nobody asked him about Martial. Why did he need to say that? Jose is a calculated bully. When he subbed off Pogba, at that time, he did it to make a statement. But I was laughing because we conceded anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it backfired on Jose because we scored as soon as Pogba went off. And the stories were already written. Then we conceded again. And I was like, yep. He took off Martial. And guess what? We conceded anyway. So this whole notion that I took off Martial because he doesn't defend. And then we conceded anyway. So the egg was all over Jose's face. He knew what he was doing. He was building a narrative with them substitutions. To say, I'm going to take these guys off. We're not going to concede any more goals because these guys aren't working hard enough so he can come out after the game and bash them. And then we conceded anyway. The whole training ground thing, he knew the cameras are in there. They're allowed 15 minutes a month on the training ground. He knew they were there. When he pulled Pogba over, he did that to cause a scene. Pogba looked shocked. When Mourinho said something to him, he turned back in shock like, hold on, what are you going on about? They've got a bloody big centre in there. He could have pulled Pogba aside after training or before training. But he waited until he was in front of the cameras. Why do you think that was? Everything the guy does is calculated, and he's a manipulative guy, man. And he's turned the fan base, some of the fan base, on our two most exciting players. Pogba and Martial are by far our most exciting players at the club. They're the only two players at the club that can just make something happen out of absolutely nothing. The only two.
Look, I've said a lot of things on the United stand over the years that I probably regret in the heat of the moment, but I've said it 3 times now on 3 separate shows. What he did with Martial yesterday disgusted me. It was just no need for it. It was nothing to do with him why he lost the game. He had 8 defenders. We were parking the bus. Why does Martial need to defend? He's playing in the front too. And Lukaku was twice worse than Martial was. It was just total and utter victimisation for no reason other than scraping the barrel, trying to get agendas against people to get support with himself. I thought it was disgusting. I did. I'm sorry. I'd argue that with anybody. I don't even think it's open for debate. I thought it was totally and utterly irrelevant to go in on Martial. Absolutely irrelevant. And that performance, Sophie, yesterday, I've heard some people saying today, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this. Do you think, because I don't think that performance yesterday, I don't think he can, the one positive is if he survives to the next game, I don't think he can do it as bad as he did against West Ham again. Like Rance says, Pogba and Martial coming off on 70 minutes. A stupid double substitution. McTominay at centre-back. Losing 3-1 to West Ham. Parking the bus against West Ham. It was just a disaster class. But I've heard people saying today he knows he's going to get paid a lot of money if he gets the sack. Do you think he knows it's beyond repair at United now and he's actually trying to get the sack?
Well, it was as calculated as we all think he is. Why not? I would be absolutely laughing if I was in Jose's shoes at the moment knowing I'm going to get that much money if I'm sacked. So why not? I can't see... I mean, Flex said it on a few shows ago. He said it's like everything Jose does is to get a reaction. Like he's doing everything against what people want on purpose to try and get a reaction. And that is how it feels. Like McTominay yesterday, bringing Pogba off, especially after what had happened in the training ground. That is exactly like he's trying to stir, and that's exactly how it feels as a United fan.
It is, and I mean, it sounds ridiculous to say that he might be trying to get the sack on purpose. But I had my match reaction yesterday, and I think yours was the same as well, Rance. And I don't know. I'll go to you again, Sophie, very quickly on this because obviously we didn't get a match reaction from you. But both of us, I mean, Rance can give it some, I can give it some. But to be honest, it was sort of a confused resignation feel to it, when really we probably should have been going, there was so much wrong there, it's a bloody disgrace. But most of the fan cams and most of the people who reacted to it were just like, and that's when you know, I mean, what was your reaction yesterday? That's sort of when you know it's over, because you're not ranting anymore. You're like, this is just unbelievably embarrassing.
It feels a lot similar to when Van Gaal went and when Moyes went for me. Like you say, it's kind of like fans have just like, that's it, I've had enough now. Not even anger anymore, more just gutted. And just wanting fresh air, to be honest with you, wanting a new person in and wanting a fresh start, because we just can't take much more of this. And it just feels exactly like under LVG when he got towards the end. I know obviously we won the FA Cup, but even then people were thinking we were not happy with what we're witnessing. I saw some tweets the other day saying actually this is worse than the Van Gaal era. Yeah. And you know what? I agree completely. I actually agree with that, and I'll probably get slated for saying it, but I think the Van Gaal era was a lot better than this. There are far more positives in the football than we're witnessing now.
There was just a comment in the live comments which was brilliant. It was something along the lines of, I've seen this film before, I know how it ends, I'm just hoping it's not the director's cut and it goes on too long. I think that's brilliant, it's spot on. I think everybody rants sort of feels like they it's that resignation, it's that apathy. He ain't coming back from this, is he? But when we look at Mourinho, and I feel we are sort of writing his eulogy tonight, and look, I'm an empathetic person. I do feel sorry for the bloke. You said it the other night. We thought we were going to get a different Mourinho. I was excited about it. I'll put my hands up. I thought this is great. But you think about it, he spent the whole time in a hotel room. The biggest thing for me with Mourinho, though, is he spoke the other day to make a point with Pogba in his press conference. No one's bigger than the club. I just feel with Mourinho, he's never understood what this club's about. I mean, how many ticks in the boxes has he actually got around youth, entertaining football? You know, even integrating with the fans has only happened in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, because he's doing it because he's hanging on. He done it out of desperation. That's what he did. Like, that's what Jose does. He's calculated, and that's why he's trying to turn this thing all emotional and go over to the fans. He didn't care about us for 2 years, and now all of a sudden he wants to endear himself to the fans. Too little, too late, man. That was just panic stations for him. That was just a last resort for him. That's when I knew he was rattled. When he started to try and endear himself to the fans, because it's always been about him, his achievements, and he always speaks about himself like he's a separate entity from the club. He doesn't use words like we or whatever. It's all what I've done and I've done this. And every time we lose, it's always someone else's fault. He's never held his hands up and said, you know what, I got it wrong. And he never will. Because he's that arrogant, he will honestly believe in his head that he could have turned it around. But he can't turn it around. He's done out here. And I believe that the board know he's done. If the board had faith in him, they would have backed him and given him the money. They didn't give him the money. And I said it in pre-season. I said the board are saving his money to give to Zidane when he comes in. And I laughed. And people were like, no way, Jose's staying, you're not getting Zidane. Well, what now, bruv? Jose's out of here. And the reason why Jose's out of here is because he was never the right man for the job anyway. He's done what he was meant to do. Steady the ship. That's what he was brought in. He brought in to do. Steady the ship. He's brought some good players. They're not playing well, but our squad, man for man, is all right. Like, I was watching the Liverpool-Chelsea game yesterday, and I'm looking at Liverpool starting 11, man for man, and I'm not, like, the starting 11 is not amazing man for man, but they play very good football because they've got a very good manager. They've got a system that everybody knows how to play. We've got a very disjointed 11 players. You know what I mean? 11 individuals don't play football. It's a team game. Do you know what I mean? And there's no cohesion. After two seasons and there's no cohesiveness, our attackers don't know where anyone is. Pogba gets the ball, he doesn't know where he's going to pass it next. Like, these guys don't know what they're doing. At least under LVG, everyone knew what they were doing. It might not have been the most entertaining, but everyone knew. When Smalling was playing at centre-back, he was stepping out, passing it, but he knew where he needed to go. Everyone knew what they needed to do. Under Jose, nobody knows what they need to do because what is he coaching these guys? Like, the guy's been a complete failure as far as I'm concerned by his high standards. I think that he's been a big flop.
See, we say he stabilised us, but even like you say, over 2 years in, he doesn't even know his best centre back.
Yeah, but he stabilised us in the sense that he spent a lot of money, and he didn't really buy any crap players. Do you know what I'm saying? He didn't buy amazing players, but he didn't buy any crap players. Apart from Lukaku, he's crap. But you think we spent 75 million on Lukaku? We could have got any striker in the world for that money. Any striker. There's no striker on this planet we couldn't have got for 75 million, probably apart from Harry Kane because he's English. So he would have had a premium on him. But you look at all the other top strikers in the game right now, 75 million could have got you Karim Benzema, it could have got you Cavani, it could have got you anyone that you wanted. Do you know what I mean? It could have got you anyone you wanted, and it just hasn't. So
look at Aubameyang at Arsenal. They got him for decent money, didn't they?
yeah, 75 million could have got you a bang. It could have got you anyone, man. It could have got you anyone in the game right now. And we spent it on him. You know what I mean? Apart from that, he's bought players that make our squad strong. Like 1 to 15, our squad's not crap. We comfortably have a top 4 squad. Comfortably. Now, I mean, I wouldn't say man for man Liverpool have a better squad than us. They don't, but they'll play us off the park though. You know what I mean? And that's down to the gaffer. That's what that's down to. Like, I think Jose's football is prehistoric. Like, it's a joke. So I think he's
a great point about the tactics, because what are the tactics? What are the tactics? I mean, Gary says you guys and girl, he should have said girl as well, sound like you've got an agenda against Jose Mourinho. I mean, look, mate, I can't even get angry about that statement. I mean, I would be saying, why have you not got an agenda against him? I mean, is there something you like about Manchester United getting embarrassed by Derby County at home and Wolves? Is there something you like about parking the bus at West Ham? There's no excuse. There's no long-term injury. There's no suspensions. There's no reason for that other than the manager. I don't like sitting here today going, Mourinho's got to go, the board have got to do it. I hate it. I never wanted to do that. I've done videos saying I don't want to do it. But, when the writing's on the wall, I just think we're totally and utterly in the hands of the board now and their competence, and that worries me, because since when has this board been competent at football decisions? But Tuesday night, so Valencia at Old Trafford, Newcastle on Saturday at Old Trafford. We know the fans, and I'll applaud them for this, they will get behind the team, and that may well be mistaken as backing the manager, and maybe some of them will back the manager, but we know that those fans will be there cheering the team. I don't think we'll hear any anti-Mourinho stuff, but Valencia on Tuesday night, I'm pretty sure Mourinho will still be in charge. Are you expecting I said that this is, I suppose, short question. Is he a hypocrite to keep picking Pogba when he clearly has a problem with him? Is that an issue for you? Do you think, if he is the manager of Manchester United, should he actually have the bravery to stop relying on players that he likes to pick on and actually just pick the crap team that he likes and start losing even more games, and then he goes?
I think there's many examples where people say Jose is a hypocrite, to be fair. Look how he treated Luke Shaw earlier on in his United career, and I just think, he is a hypocrite, but at the same time, you don't drop Paul Pogba. Unless there was an argument between the two of them, then maybe Paul Pogba would have been dropped, which is what tells me, like Rand says, that it was all just put on for the camera. Nothing really happened there.
Pogba against Valencia. I think Pogba will get dropped against Valencia. He dropped him against Seville, remember?
True.
And we lost. I wouldn't be surprised if Pogba don't start on Tuesday. Remember, I said it.
We took him off after 70 minutes yesterday. When you're 2-1 down, I thought, there's a chance there, isn't there? So 2-0 down.
Shoulder.
He dropped Hazard and then he got sacked, mate. You know what I mean? And remember, Chelsea was 17th. That's what Jose can do. Let's not wait till we're 17th to sack him. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Like, the guy needs to be sacked now because we're 10th already. It's embarrassing.
I'm just going to read some of the super chats out, and then we'll start taking some of the comments in the live comments as well. Please do drop a like on the video. There's a lot of people watching. Like it underneath, and also subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. Get involved. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock we're live again, and we've got a Skype show where you lot can Skype in and have your say. So lots to get involved with on the United Stand. If you are new, make sure you subscribe and drop a like on the video. Ray Carl Brown Amore says Jose is not moving us forward. He's not the right man. And the special one, what do you think United would be like under Zidane in terms of his philosophy and being vulnerable from the counter-attack, and our defence is crap? Look, I think both Safe and Rance have said that United fans aren't impatient. We've been very patient, and whoever the new manager is, they will be given time, especially if they come in now, which is a mess. It's not ideal to come in now, so there would be patience there, and he would have to be given that patience. We wouldn't be saying Zidane out at Christmas. That would be stupid. You've got to give him time. Kearney says, give it to Southgate. How would you feel about that? Come on. Francisco, we've done him. I'm a plant. We're not even good enough to be Newton Heath, let alone Manchester United. Getting Zidane or the class of 92, losing to small teams is ridiculous. Shearer says, Mourinho had a big, strong players at Chelsea. Football is faster and more technical now. Speed and one-touches is the need of the hour. West Ham, can't believe that way. Jose will get sacked. Neil Warnock is the answer, says PBT Building. Well, I don't think it's much worse than what we're doing at the moment. It's me, 21. Zidane can bring the best out of Pogba and Martial. Exactly what Rance was saying. Kane Lee, Adidas could help us get Zidane. Zidane is an Adidas ambassador. Paul Pogba will play for his idol for sure. Yes, the respect will be back. Bjorn Lundberg, Mourinho's here to stay rest of the season. We know the board is paralysed, so all this talk about sacking is a waste of breath. We're screwed. That is a very, very scary thought, and it's what I fear as well. Sonny B, Pogba needs to go as well. No one is bigger than the club. Sorry, Rants, but fans don't want someone toxic like that at the club. I will come back to that one. I've just got 2 more to do. I think Mourinho purposely gave Pogba the captaincy so that he can publicly strip it off him and make a statement. It was all a plan, says Ali A. And Philip Burton Wood says, at the end of the day, the board knew who United were getting in. Jose is a drama queen, causes it everywhere he goes. The fans deserve better. That's from Philip. Yeah, well, I'll go to you that, Soph, and then I'm going to ask Rants about that Pogba thing. But yeah, you know what? I think there's maybe a small potential. There's obviously going to be a percentage of fans who still back Mourinho. Maybe some will jump back if we beat Valencia and Newcastle, but I think the majority are now like, this is it. It's over, which puts us into the hands of, effectively we are in the hands of the board now. The decision needs to be made. A lot of people know that, and it's whether the board do it. But going back to what that person said there, Philip Burntwood, the evidence is there with Mourinho, and he is the third central defensive midfielder. I'm stuck with CDMs now. He's the third defensive manager we've appointed in a row. It is always important, I think, to focus on that as well. And Gary Neville said it today, that there is regardless if you get rid of Mourinho, there is a chance it could be 4th time unlucky. There is that fear that it is bigger than a manager. It is bigger than the players. If you want to have a pop at them, there is. Well, do you agree there is a bigger problem at Manchester United in relation to the way we are run?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's not just been this year, wasn't it just last year. Since Fergie's gone, when have we played attacking football? When have we been exciting to watch? Because I can't remember really a time where we've been exciting to watch. And yeah, I think the players have got to take some flack for it, but it comes tactically from Jose Mourinho. Obviously, we've got big players. We've already said on paper, our squad is ridiculous, really. We should be up there competing for the title, but they're not. Because we've got 11 individuals. There's no cohesion, tactics aren't right, nobody's playing as a team. And there are a lot of problems going on behind the scenes, yes, but we need a manager who's going to come and get the players playing for him, players who are willing to take risks, willing to be positive, because at the minute we haven't got that. We're playing too safe, too negative, and we've got no bottle in that team. The second we go a goal down, or the second the team comes at us, we've literally got no character, no desire, and no spirit in that team. And for me, Jose Mourinho has got a big part to play in that.
The other question for you was going to be about Pogba, and if Mourinho is sacked, should Pogba leave the club? I'm going to twist it another way because I know you'll say no, but if Mourinho goes and the next manager, whoever it is, what do you think? Because Mourinho's messed this up, but I still think that squad has massive problems with it. What would you do, and what would you want the managers to do with that team? Who would you be building the team around, and where do you think we've got to improve? Because I know you've mentioned Lukaku as well.
We're going to go by the players who have got star quality. De Gea, Pogba, Martial, they're the players who've got star quality. You've got to build a team around them and get them playing, because at the moment they're not playing for the manager. Other than De Gea, who's keeping us obviously in a lot of games, but other than De Gea, Pogba, Martial, yeah, they're getting a lot of stick. Pogba, for me, I've already said it on previous shows, he is taking too many touches in the middle, but a lot of that comes from a lack of movement up front. He's got no options. But like against Wolves, for example, for me, he was at fault for the goal because he tried to be fancy and he's had it nicked off him. So at times, Pogba for me has been a bit over elaborate in the middle. He has tried to do too much, but at the same time, look, at least he's trying something. There's not many players we can say are taking a risk, and there's not many players who are doing that. Pogba for me is one of the players, ability-wise, we all know he's got that potential, but he hasn't done it enough at United. I would like to see him under another manager. I really believe he would flourish under another manager, a player that lets him be free and lets him have the freedom of the pitch to do what he wants to do, because at the minute he's not got that under Mourinho. So for me, it'd be Pogba, Martial and De Gea I would be building a team around.
And Sanchez, mate. Sanchez didn't just get crap overnight, you know. That's what people are forgetting.
True.
Like, he's a top quality player. He's just not. He's not playing in a system that makes any sense to him, and he's getting the ball way too deep. Alexis Sanchez is the kind of guy you want to get on the ball on the edge of the box, man. He turns on the sixpence and he gets shots off, man. Like, he's lethal.
He's got a bit of potential, hasn't he?
In and around the box, he's lethal, man. You see what Luis Suarez was doing for Liverpool? He could do that for us. He did it at Arsenal, but he was playing up front as a false nine, like without bloody big Lukaku out there. Get him out the team. I'll play Rashford and Martial either side of him and just rip people apart. Like, that fluid front three would kill people. There's pace, there's close control. The way Martial holds the ball is different gravy, man. Yesterday he was coming deep, spinning, trying to commit people. Lukaku can't do that. Like, he's not mobile at all. He can run in straight lines and that's it. Do you know what I mean? If you ping a ball over the top after him, he'll run after it. Like, he's got no agility. He's just big and clumsy. Like, Alexis is a top quality forward. He's just not a left winger. Like, he's never been a left winger. And Arsenal also played for Alexis Sanchez. That's why he looked so good at Arsenal. Everything was to get the ball to him. He was their guy. So at United, when we've got so many other players around him, playing him in that position is not favourable for him. So I just think under a different manager, we've got another top player there, man. And he works hard as well, which a lot of people like. He'll give us more up front than Lukaku. When Lukaku's not scoring goals for us, he offers nothing. He doesn't hold the ball well. He doesn't back into players. He doesn't run the channels. He doesn't close people down. He doesn't do anything. At least Alexis will work for you, even when he's not playing well. So Lukaku is like playing with 10 men for most of the game until he gets a tap in. And then everyone starts pulling their stats out. And they're like, oh my God, yeah. Nah, Lukaku's poor, mate. You know what I mean? I don't think a decent manager keeps him.
I said it weeks ago that Lukaku was a better player at Everton, but people just don't listen. You know, he was.
The stats agree with you, though.
Yeah, but I mean, just as a player, I think he suited Everton better because he had a lot more space to run into on the break. At United, you've got to be able to break teams down.
You have to be able to hold the ball at United because teams play deeper against us because they sit back. Against Everton, teams press you, so you've got space in behind. And if you watch yesterday, I was watching Lukaku. Our midfielders have the ball and he's pointing and he wants it over the top to run, but there's no space to run into. So why do you want it in behind from 20 yards? Like, Pogba wants to play it into him and then get it back. And then there was a couple of times Pogba played it into him and he's followed in and Lukaku couldn't sort his feet out. And then the attack's broken down. And that's the majority of our attacks, man. So, like, he can't play as a pivot. He's not a target man. He likes to play in behind. Unfortunately, today's football's changed. If you're going to play a one up front, you have to be able to come short and have a short game. He doesn't have a short game. That's why Firmino does so well at Liverpool. And that's why Lukaku just don't have it, mate. So we have to play to his strengths, keep the ball out wide and whipping crosses so we can finish first time. Because most of his finishes are first time finishes when you look at all of his goals. Because he's not composed. So it's one of them ones. You either put crosses in for the guy or you bench him.
It's interesting because a lot of people say Lukaku's first touch is like a brick wall, but you can hit a ball at a brick wall and know where it's going. I think it's more like a sponge. You hit it and it goes anywhere. It's true. His first touch is so erratic. I mean, Paul Pogba is one of the best players in the world. He ain't got a clue where it's coming when it comes back. But I think if we do get a new manager, if hopefully we will, there will be that patience there. But just thinking about what you've both said there and the people in the live comments as well, the reality is if a new manager started tomorrow against Valencia, you could play De Gea in goal, Delight right back, Smalling and Bailly, Luke Shaw left back, Fred, Pogba, Matic till January, get a proper CDM in, Sanchez, Martial, Lukaku, and it's a decent 11. But we don't even get close to that under Mourinho. He don't get near that.
Smash the team as well. We'd smash them, mate, because everyone would be lifted. And just look what Sarri's done at this so-called efficient workman-like Chelsea team. And now he's got these guys oozing now. Like, some of the football they play is ridiculous. And he's done that in 2 months. He didn't have a pre-season, remember, because they were at the World Cup. And he brought in Jorginho and a goalkeeper. So he didn't bring in loads of players. He brought in a goalkeeper because he had to replace one that he got rid of. And he brought in a deep-lying playmaker. That's all he brought in. That's all he brought in, but the style of football is completely alien to the football that Jose and Conte had them playing. So it shows you when you've got a proper coach and you've got players that buy into the philosophy of the coach, it doesn't take a long time. Our board back our managers. Our board back David Moyes. David Moyes went after Gareth Bale. We put in 100 million for Gareth Bale, but he went to Real Madrid. He was backed, and we wanted Fellaini. Woodward should have said, "Nah, you can't have the money. Fellaini's crap," but he gave him the money anyway. And that's what you call backing a manager. Because to give anyone £5 for Fellaini, you're backing the manager. And then you look at LVG. LVG spent over 200 million, 250 million in what, 2 seasons? That's backing the manager. Jose spent over 400 million. That's backing him. They didn't give him any money this summer because they said, we've given you enough and you haven't done well with it. And they were right. So the next manager that comes in will get 250 million to spend in the summer. That's it.
There's a lot of people in the live comments who clearly aren't United fans tonight. And they are saying, keep Mourinho, keep Mourinho. When you see rival fans saying that, Soph, what do you think? Rival fans saying keep... It reminds me of the summer when they were saying it's great news that you've got Fellaini on a new contract. What does that make you think when rivals are doing that?
We deserve all the banter we're getting at the moment. We really do. We can't say anything back to that. But the way we're playing on the pitch, the way our manager's dealing with everything, you know what? If I was a rival, look how we were with Arsenal with Wenger. We were absolutely pissing ourselves. So we can't say anything back at the moment because we deserve that banter.
We deserve worse than the Arsenal fans because at least Wenger went out with a bit of dignity.
Well, they always played good football, didn't they? They were just terrible at the back. Yeah. Like your brother said, they were like an apron.
Arsene Wenger went out with a bit of dignity. He didn't throw his players under the bus. When he got it wrong, he put his hands up and said he got it wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like even the other day, I saw Poch come out after they lost the game, and he said in the Champions League, he said, "Don't criticize my players. I'm the guy that picks the team." Do you know what I mean? Like he'll criticize his players, but you can't talk about his players. Jose will openly just throw his players under the bus. So we're a laughing stock, mate. I never saw Arsene do that once. When Arsenal took the L, he took the L. But Jose wants to let everyone else take the L apart from him. Do you know what I mean? So he'll fall on his own sword. And I honestly believe that Ed Woodward has had a plan to replace him from as early as last summer anyway. Because they gave him a 1-year extension. I told everyone that that's not a show of faith for the manager. Because Pochettino got an extra 4 years. Harry Kane got an extra 4 years. Those are the kind of contracts you give players and managers that you have complete faith in. You gave Jose a 1-year extension. It wasn't a new deal. It was the extension that was already in his contract. So they just triggered a clause to give him an extra year. And they didn't give him any money to spend, really. So that shows that they're not confident in the guy. And then all this press getting leaked about a director of football. You knew a director of football wasn't coming in to work with Jose Mourinho. He doesn't like them. So the director of football thing was always coming with a new manager. It was always coming with a new manager because Ed always leaked stuff in the press. Remember when Van Gaal was still the manager and we kept hearing this Mourinho stuff in the press? Ed Woodward knows what he's doing. These things don't come out of nowhere. United have never had a director of football. So where's all this news coming from if it's not true?
It's what businessmen do, isn't it? You test the water by it's like running a prototype, isn't it? Let's see what people think about Zidane coming. Positivity. All right, that's the one to go with.
There's no smoke without fire. The director of football thing, we heard about. I heard Edwin van der Sar has been looked at. A few other people, the guy from Atletico Madrid. These things are really happening. Ed's really having these meetings. They've actually realised that, hold on, what we're doing isn't really working. They've seen the model that City have. They've seen the model that Liverpool have. And they're like, you know what? They are late, but I think the penny's dropped now. And I think you bring in Zidane and a director of football, we're flying, mate. Not immediately, but if we're playing good football, the fans will be patient. Again, I hate how well Liverpool are playing because it makes me sick. And I don't want them to win the league. Like, I really don't. But even if they win nothing again this season, their fans are not going to be gutted because they're watching beautiful football week in, week out. They can give Klopp another season because they've been to a Champions League final. They've been to a Europa League final. And they're playing great football as well. And that's the thing. The fans are not going to complain if they don't win anything this season. They should because of what they spent. But even if they don't, the fans will be content. And I think our fans will be the same. If our fans getting a manager that's playing the right way, we'll give him time and we'll back him. Because we know it's not an overnight job. We know there are players at the club that are not good enough to be there. Phil Jones is crap. Do you know what I mean? Fellaini's rubbish. Valencia's rubbish. Do you know what I mean? For me, Matic is good enough to be a squad player. But if we're if we're bringing in the right kind of players, he's on the bench to bring on to shut up shop when we're 2-0 up away from home in the Champions League or something. He's not good enough. Do you know what I mean? Rashford's a good player, but he's not good enough to be starting week in, week out at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So there's Lukaku's
I think
not
that would
good
change
enough.
under a different manager though with Rashford. I think that Rashford's just, we can talk all night, but Rashford and Martial have just not developed for players under Mourinho for 2 years.
But talent-wise, Martial's just a lot more talented than him naturally. Like the way he dribbles and commits players and his close control and the way he's clinical in front of goal. Rashford's not like that. Rashford's still very raw. Rashford hasn't developed in 2 years under Jose. I think that Rashford will be a better player later on in his career because he's still a kid. Martial is a lot better than him now, but I think that Rashford, by the time he's 26, 27, he's going to be awesome. But I just don't think, I think he's going to be one of them late bloomers. You know what I mean? He'll fill out a bit more physically, he'll get a bit bigger, and yeah, he'll be awesome later on down the line. I don't think he's good enough to start week in, week out for us now, but he's a bloody good player. But we got players like Darmian. Darmian actually looked decent under LVG. People are forgetting. He looked
I liked him
right
when he first came to the club. I did. I liked Darmian at first.
But you don't just become a bad player overnight. So again, maybe it's what Jose wants him to do, because I watched Darmian in the Euros and he had Raheem Sterling in his back pocket. And when I found out we were signing him, I was like, you know what? He's a good left back. I'll take him. And now he's rubbish. Like, he can't just be rubbish overnight. So we've got players that don't deserve to be in the squad. McTominay just needs to go to Brentford or something because that's his level. Do you know what I mean?
I'm glad I'm not the only one who thinks that.
That's it. Andreas Pereira can't get a sniff, but he was our best player in pre-season, and technically he's awesome. You saw the free kick against Liverpool. How many players in our squad can do that? Barring Paul Pogba, who else can put that ball in the top corner from there? No one. And he can't even get a game against Derby.
Agenda. That's what it is with Mourinho. I do think with the rival thing, though, just going back to what I was saying to Sophie, I think you get your best opinion from rivals. Liverpool have had the best opinion from United fans for 20 years because when we're saying keep a manager, when Arsenal fans used to say it as well, when they're begging us to keep Mourinho, you know he's got to go. When they're begging us to keep Fellaini, you know he's crap, and that's just basically it. But Soph, look, if Mourinho goes, and I still think it's a big, massive if. I want to get you both on this. If Mourinho goes, I was very excited when Mourinho came in and I thought, right, we're definitely going to win a title because that's what he does in 2 years. To be honest with you, whoever the next manager is that comes in, I did say this a few months ago, if Mourinho fails, the saddest thing about it will be that whoever the next manager is, I won't have massive expectations anymore. Doesn't mean that the new manager won't be successful, but I think the Mourinho thing has been such a deflator. You know, he's always won the title in the first 2 years. And no matter what happens with Mourinho, he can't do that because he can't go back in time. So I suppose the saddest thing is obviously what Mourinho's done to the club. But actually, whoever the next manager is, it's that cold, stark realisation that, you know, anything is possible at United now. And the job of getting back to where we were is not necessarily going to be solved by the next manager. We're just going to have to hope.
Yeah, but I think obviously post Fergie, everyone had high expectations and everyone was expecting United to carry on in that same manner. Like Rance rightly said earlier, I completely agree. We need our new identity now. We need a fresh person to come in, a fresh breath of fresh air, and it's fresh start for the whole team, really, for the whole club, because we need to make a start. Yeah, expectations still need to be high, but we need to build for the future now and not focus on what's happened in the past. That's happened, yeah, it's fantastic, but we need to focus on achieving. And like you said, we're living in the dark ages under Mourinho. Football has changed, but we're also living in the dark ages if we think it's going to be like the class of '92 again, because it's going to be completely different, and we need to focus on the future rather than what's happened in the past.
Yeah, and Rance, Mourinho. I mean, Andrew Ellis. I've got to shout him out. He said from the very first summer that Mourinho came, I don't want him at the club, he'll ruin the club, and he's always been in the live comments, and I always shout him out because he's had so much stick over the years, and I've always said, look, I don't agree with Andrew, but he's always stood by the fact that Mourinho's wrong, and I said, you're going to get proved wrong, it looks like he's going to be proved right, but whatever happens with this next manager, Rance, there is going to be a reality bite for fans, I think. Because we don't know the future anymore.
I think there's going to be a big lift, man. And also, I think it's going to make all of you lot realise how good some of our players are, man. Because when I watch these guys, and I'm like, these guys are awesome. Like, Jesse Lingard is a very good footballer. Like, you know what I mean? Marcus Rashford is a very good footballer. Martial is a very good footballer. Pogba is a very good footballer. Fred's a very good footballer. Andreas is a very good footballer. Eric Bailly is a very good footballer. Like, we've got some ballers in our team. Like, and we don't see them all play as a cohesive unit because they don't train that way and they look super disjointed, man. I mean, when I look at our squad, and I'm just like, you give that to Pep, you give that to Klopp, you give that to Pochettino. You see the football these guys would play. Because remember last season, the goal that we scored against Arsenal, Jesse's goal, the link up with Martial and Jesse Lingard, that kind of one touch and that intricate football. We've
Best
got it in
we've
our
ever
locker.
played under Mourinho. I think that Arsenal performance was superb.
We do that. When Jesse Millie rocked at the Emirates, yeah, that build-up play to that goal was ridiculous. And we can do that every game because we have the players to do it. We just don't have the coach. Do you know what I mean? And when the coach comes in, you will see how good some of these guys are, man. You'll really see it. You'll really see it. So I am not really all doom and gloom in the sense that I believe that we're probably about 3 or 4 players away from challenging for the league. And we can buy them 3 or 4 players in one window if we give the money to the right manager. Because we're not super far off. We're not. Delo's a quality player, man. Like the cross that he put in for Fellaini, if that was Valencia on right, that's going out for a goal kick, mate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
It's true.
like,
It's true.
good right back. I mean, Delo's a good right back. He's no worse than Trent Alexander. If anything, he's better than him. Do you know what I mean? So you just look at that. I mean, Luke Shaw is a good enough left back. You know what I mean? He's a bit suspect down the outside. He gets beaten too easily. Nobody touched on the fact that he got beaten very easily for the first goal yesterday. You know what I mean? But I don't like to blame him for stuff like that. Just like people said, oh, Pogba was at fault for the goal the other day because he lost the ball. But yeah, he lost the ball high up the pitch. Look how many people were behind him and no one won the ball back. You defend as a team. I'm never gonna blame one player for conceding a goal unless it's like Karius and you throw it onto someone's foot. Then yes, your fault, innit? But if you're an attacker and you lose the ball up the field, there's people behind you to win it back. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I'm not a believer.
Every single goal in football, you'll find a blame, and I don't think anyone's got a problem with people making mistakes every now and again. You know, like Shaw, like you said yesterday, but you know, 2 of the goals yesterday were because we played a Brentford midfielder at centre back, like you say. It's he was at fault clearly for 2 goals.
You don't blame McTominay for that because he didn't pick the team, and
Exactly,
if he did, I'm sure he wouldn't put himself centre back. So again, that's the goalkeeper. I mean, that's the manager's fault. But I'm not blaming the players for that. But every single goal you see conceded, there's always someone at fault, man. Like, you very rarely see a goal where there's not a mistake somewhere. Attacking players, especially players that take risks, the best players in the world, they lose the ball. Messi loses the ball. Ronaldo lost the ball loads for us. But, you know what I mean? Ryan Giggs used to lose the ball a hell of a lot for us.
He did.
Do you know what I mean? Players that dribble and try and commit play and do things, they lose the ball a lot. Alexis loses the ball a lot, but you have to have the ball to lose it. Alexis always wants the ball and he gets on it. Yeah, he loses it, but he's always on it. He doesn't hide. Pogba doesn't hide. When Pogba loses the ball, next time the ball's available, he wants it. You know what I mean? That's what it is. So I don't mind players losing the ball. I don't mind players trying something, losing the ball, trying to open up defences rather than going sideways, or Ashley Young going back to De Gea from the halfway line. Don't want to see that. Do you know what I mean? So we just need the right coaching. I don't think our players are as bad as people think.
Well, there's a great comment here from Sims. He says, the amount of potential in our squad is frightening, and I think that's the thing to cling on to as and when the change comes in. There's just something, you know, some really good comments tonight from the live comments. Also, Safe and Rants have been fantastic. But there was something that just dropped into my head, and I'll thank Andrew Ellis for this, because I did say this right at the start as one of the things that worried me a little bit about Mourinho when he first came in, because I was very positive. But there was one thing I said that sticks out, and that was, why is Mourinho talking about 2-year plan, 4 or 5 transfer windows, when Ranieri's just won a title with Leicester? He came in the summer and he won a title. That has been emphasised yet again with what Rance was saying with Sarri. 3 months and they look like they've been playing together for 3 years. I think we were sold a little bit of a lie by Mourinho at the start when he said it was going to take a couple of years to build a team. It doesn't take a couple of years to build a team. It could take a couple of weeks. You know, international managers don't get very long with these teams, and they play well. But we've seen it with Derby the other night. Lampard's only been there 3 months. They're whizzing the ball around at Old Trafford against virtually our first team. I think we've been sold a dream, and we're still in a situation, as we saw yesterday, where we've got no philosophy, no starting 11, and no idea about what we are. And this is year 3, and that for me is the big legacy of Jose Mourinho. It's just what actually was your plan? Because we still don't know it.
This is it. Like, Lampard's been a manager for 5 minutes and he played Jose off the park. So, do you know what I mean? What is that?
Well, he didn't learn that football from Jose. It must have been from his time at City.
Nah, but he's got Jody Morris there, innit? And Jody Morris had that Chelsea youth team playing some ridiculous football. They won everything, didn't they? That Chelsea youth team. And they brought in a few players from there. Jody Morris is a very good coach, man. So,
but I just think with Lampard, I said it on Tuesday, Soph, as well, that what Lampard's done is, I never liked Lampard at Chelsea because he played for Chelsea. But when he was on BT, he was my favourite pundit, and he was only there for a while because he spoke so elegantly, and so he's obviously a very intelligent guy. And I think what he's done is he's looked at football and gone, football's changed. Football's changed. You've got to play fast, you've got to press, and you've got to attack, and that's what he's done with Derby. And in 3 months, he's reaped the benefits. Mourinho has just gone, I've been successful for 15 years doing it this way. I'm going to stick my way.
Exactly. I think the best coaches are not got to be afraid to learn something new and to hold their hands up and say, you know what, I've got to change something here. And that's what Jose seems to be afraid of doing. He's not changing anything. He's not mixing it up. Lampard is a good example. But I think, you know what, if the players aren't playing for you, we could have Ronaldo in our lineup. We could spend all the money in the world. It doesn't matter. If they're not playing for the manager, what's the point? If they're not playing with freedom, they're not wanting to take risks, then what's the point? We might as well be playing with the youth side. And we'll probably get more out of them because at the end of the day, if Jose is not giving the players the freedom and the confidence to go out there and express themselves, then what's the point in having any world-class players on that pitch? There's no point at all, and that's what Lampard proved the other night with Derby. His players are playing for him. They're confident. They're at Old Trafford and they're thinking, you know what, we're going to take the game to United like every team wants to now because there's no fear factor playing against Man United anymore. And that's all from Jose Mourinho and the fear that he's instilled into our players.
We've just had the best comment we've ever had about a show, and I don't know whether to take this sinister or actually the content's just been so good, but Rashid's just said this is better than porn. So there you go.
You know what's funny? Yeah? When I was watching the West Ham game, and then someone was saying about Martial, I was like, listen, Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappe, these guys could do nothing in this Jose Mourinho team. Like, some guy was like, oh, Martial, he's no Mbappe. I said, you stick Mbappe in there instead of Martial, what difference is it going to make? None.
It'd be rubbish.
Nothing. If he's just going to pass the guys, what's the point? I could go in there and starting lineup and do that. If that's all that they're going to be there and doing because they're so scared to beat a man, then what's the point?
I'm telling you, man. But that's it. Like, you mean, take Scott McTominay out, you throw either of us in there. What difference is it going to make, really, innit? I mean, the guy is crap, innit? So, as I said, man, Maureen needs to do one, mate. I'm tired of the old bag now, innit? Like, you just get him out, get Zidane in, get a director of football in, forget the January transfer window. We don't need anyone. See the season out. We'll finish in the top 4 if we make a change now. If we don't, we won't. Because Tottenham are better than us at the moment, the way we're playing. Chelsea are better than us at the moment. Regardless, Liverpool are better than us at the moment, and so are Manchester City. So there's only 4 spots, mate. So it's that simple. It's us or Tottenham for that 4th spot at the moment, the way football's looking, because Chelsea don't have Champions League. So
they're picking up the points. They're moving further and further away. So we'll see what happens. I mean, ideally, I hate to say it, but it needs to be done. But I think all of us think it won't be done, and it's going to carry on. But there we go. Thanks everyone who's watched the show. It's been absolutely fantastic tonight. Tomorrow night's your show, 8 o'clock. We'll be live again, taking your calls, and I'm sure you're going to have a lot of things to say. So looking forward to that, live at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Make sure you drop a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Loads going on. I did a video at lunchtime if people want to watch that about why I've now decided that Mourinho needs to go, but I don't necessarily think he will. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. Loved it. Soph, thanks for coming on. Give us a shout out for your social medias.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. My Twitter is @SophRicho, all one word. Subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, Hair Dry Treatment, all one word as well. Thank you for having me on. I've really enjoyed it, and nice to be on with Rants. First time we've done the show, so it's good.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. And Rants, shout out for yourself as well.
Yeah, at Rants and Bants on Twitter and on Instagram, man. I'm active on both of them, so shout me. And then, yeah, Rants and Bants on YouTube. Got new content coming on there soon as well, guys. But yeah, man, it's been fun.
And you, Flex and Rants, is that going up Tuesday, doing that this week, or do you not know yet?
Yeah, Tuesday 1 o'clock. We're filming it tomorrow evening, so it'll be up Tuesday 1.
1 o'clock before the game. Facts and rants, 1 o'clock on the United Stand on Tuesday then. It was a slightly longer show, but I think it deserved it. It was one of those sort of shows, one of those nights really. And look, the one thing I will say is keep that seatbelt on, because I don't think he's going to get sacked anytime soon. So we might be going round this circle for a while yet. And then when he does go, hopefully optimism and excitement can start.
We'll be 17th, mate. We'll be in a relegation zone, bro, if he's not out of there. I'm telling you, because these players are not playing for him no more. I'd love to see the distance ran yesterday, mate, because they were just walking. Everyone was walking around, man. They've had it. They've had it, man. Remember when we saw Eden Hazard strolling around under Conte when he was playing against Barcelona? That's when you know, innit? When players aren't running anymore, you know they're not playing, because they know they're going to get a bollocking from the manager after the game. They don't care.
Right down the tunnel.
Yeah, they don't care. Do you know what I mean? They don't care.
They probably get more tired running for the shower. But I tell you what, there's been so many people watching tonight. This is one of the hardest stats to find. And it's so hard to find, I couldn't even find it for the end of the season. But if anybody can find this stat and put it into the live comments with a link, into the comments under the video, I'll keep an eye out for it. I want to know if anyone can find the stat for distance covered for Premier League, because the last time I saw it was January and we were bottom of the league. I would love to know if where United are for distance covered, because I guarantee, as Rance was saying there, we'll be right near the bottom, which is a disgrace for Manchester United badge. Anyway, we'll kill it there. We're going to get gone. But thanks everyone for watching. I'm sure we'll be doing plenty more of these, because I think we're in for an interesting few weeks. But fantastic, everyone getting involved. Smash the like button, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Rich.
Wow.